So you and your family live in California, and you have elderly parents that live in Knoxville, Tennessee. You have made several trips back and forth to Knoxville. Your mother has been diagnosed with dementia, and your father, who is her primary caregiver, has had some health issues of his own. You've had a trip to Knoxville, and then you go back home. You are a professional, you're very busy, you have children that's in sports, you just have a busy life. And you get a phone call on a Sunday after you return home saying that your mother has fallen and broken her hip. You've exhausted your vacation time. You are 12 hours away. What can you do?
You're right. You'd be surprised how many times we've had this exact same phone call here at CAB. These scenarios happen all the time, and families are just at their wits' end, and they have no idea where to turn, what to do, who can help. But that's exactly what care management is for.
Hello, I'm Pam Reeves, the marketing manager at Care Around the Block. I have been in nursing for 35 years, and I have had multiple roles here at Care Around the Block, including care management. Today we have our Chief Operating Officer, Casey Rawson, here with us to help me dig in to understand what care management is.
Thank you, Pam. Thanks for having me here with you. I have been at Care Around the Block here in Knoxville, Tennessee since 2012. I graduated nursing school with my RN degree in 2008 and became certified in case management in 2014. So when I came to Care on the Block, we were a brand new company, family-owned business here in Knoxville. I was very on board with the mission at Care on the Block and what it stood for and the values, and was very, very excited to join our owner and help grow this company to where it is today, and very excited about where we're going to go in the future. So we're going to talk a little bit more about what care management is today and how we could help you as a client or you as a family member with your loved one.
Can you tell us in your own words what care management is, who it's for, and who does it?
Absolutely. So over the years, definitely changed the way that I describe care management and identifying who our ideal clients are. But I think the easiest way to describe what care management is it's a professional service. It's a group of healthcare professionals that come together and provide healthcare advocacy and help families and clients navigate the healthcare system. So just like you would seek out an attorney if you had a legal problem, or seek out a financial planner to take a look at your finances and help you plan for the future, people hire us as healthcare professionals to help them take a look at their healthcare needs, plan for the future, and then it doesn't stop there. We walk along that journey with them until most of the time the end of life. Our ideal client is someone that we join wherever they are in their journey, whether it's when they first get a diagnosis of dementia, or in the middle of that, or wherever they are in their journey, a diagnosis of cancer, or it could be anything, and then we walk that journey with them and their families to the end of life, and constantly changing our care plan and our goals for them as what matters to them changes.
Great summary, Casey. Can we talk about the service itself?
Absolutely. So like I mentioned, care management is a service that's made up of healthcare professionals. So they really support you through the aging process. So that includes everything from providing advocacy at doctor's appointments, to in the hospital, to crisis management in the emergency room, to navigating through transitions of care if you've had a fall and end up breaking your hip and have to go to the hospital and then skilled nursing and then back home. So we can help you walk through that entire journey. That's something that we have done countless times with family members and clients over the years. All of us together, I think we have over 50 years of experience, doing this type of work. So it relieves a lot of stress for family. It gives them peace of mind. It saves a lot of time. It helps them, not miss work. So kind of how we start that process is the care manager is really the one that manages that client's care. So they go out, they do an in-home assessment. We look at 7 different areas in the home, and then we identify areas of concern. And then from those areas of concern, we set goals. for you and your family, what matters to you. And it allows the care manager to gain insight, on your background, what your needs are. And then from there, we start trying to achieve those goals together. And of course that changes, wherever you are in your journey and new diagnosis and things that happen. But that's kind of how the process works. You and I both started here as care managers, Pam. How would you describe that service?
Well, I think you described it perfectly. Our care managers are the boots on the ground. I like to say that we're professional family members.
I love the term professional family member, Pam. That perfectly describes the role a care manager plays. To help put that into perspective for you all, I would love to share a story of something that recently happened to one of our clients in an emergency room. He is in his 70s, living with dementia, still very ambulatory, still very pleasant to be around. He's one of our favorites here at Care on the Block. He has a son that lives here locally, but he's he's a businessman and he's very busy. So we help him, we care for his dad, especially during crisis and when things happen. So, one weekend we get a call from the facility that he resides in, and he had a fall, and they didn't want to send him to the ER. They wanted to just get like a mobile x-ray, and so we advocated that we really felt like the fact that he can't always share how he's feeling or what's hurting or what happened. He really can't even recall what happened sometimes. That we felt like it would really be best if he was treated in the emergency room. So he was sent to a local ER. His son did go with him that day. It was actually over the weekend, and he was able to go and kind of hang out with his dad while he was there. And the emergency room did I don't even think they actually did x-rays that day. They did a physical exam. And he, like I said, his son's a businessman, and he trusted the doctor. The doctor said dad was okay, and so he, loads him back up in his car and takes him back to home, and gets him out of the car, and he's still like yelling in pain and hurting, and gets him back into his room and lets the nurses know there that they said he's okay, and so he goes kind of on about his day. And that night, dad goes to bed, gets up in the middle of the night, and has another fall in the bathroom. And they found him, in the bathroom. Staff gets him up, puts him back to bed. We went by the next morning, it was a Monday morning, to check on him on our way into work, because we knew he'd had kind of a rough weekend. And he wasn't able to get himself out of bed, which is unusual for him. And so at that point, we decide that we're going to take him back to the emergency room again. So about 11 o'clock that day, we take him back to the emergency room. They run some more tests on him. About 5 o'clock that day, I go back to the ER, and we've got a care partner there with him, because we don't like to leave him alone because he can't make his needs known usually, just given the advanced stage of his dementia. And so the doctor comes in that evening and tells me, well, he doesn't have a broken hip, so we're just going to send him back. What kind of pain medicine does he want? And I said, well, he's not going to go back, because just because he doesn't have a broken hip doesn't mean that there's not something else wrong. Like, this is not his level of baseline. So I said, he never has pain. He never complains of pain. And you can't even sit him up in the bed without him screaming out in pain. So I asked the doctor to reassess him and to sit him up, because I'd helped him try to eat dinner, and even to sit up the back of the bed, he was screaming out in pain. And so she does that, and she witnesses that, and she said, well, there's not really nothing else I can do. I will get, she said, maybe it's time for him to just go live in a nursing home. And I was like, no, it's not time for him to go live in a nursing home. It's time for us to figure out what has happened and try to get him back to his prior, level of baseline. This is not normal for him. And she's like, well, he has arthritis. And I said, well, he's had arthritis for 20 years. So arthritis is not what is causing this acute pain today. So she said that she couldn't do anything as the ER doctor, but that she would call the attending doctor and see if they would admit him and do some more tests. So I was able to stay that evening until the other doctor came in and asked them to do some more tests. I went home. We had a care partner stay overnight with them. I went back really early the next morning to try and catch the doctor. And sure enough, he had compression fractures in his back. So we were able to get him admitted for several days. You have to be admitted for 3 midnights in order to qualify to go to a skilled nursing facility for rehab. So he did. He stayed in the hospital for several days. He went to a local facility for rehab. Within like a week, he was back up and walking again, doing well. He spent several weeks there. He was able to rehab back to his normal level of baseline. He was actually stronger than he was when he left the facility with the compression fractures, and was able to return back to his assisted living. He did not have to stay in skilled nursing. He did not have to go to a nursing home, which nobody wants to go live in a nursing home. And he is thriving at the facility that he's at. He's very happy. He did not have to have a change in environment, which would have been very hard for him at the stage of the dementia that he's in. And if it wouldn't have been, for the advocacy and for us being there to say, there is more that you can do. Like, don't just discount him because he's 70-something years old and dementia. Like, figure out what is wrong. Something is wrong, and it's your job to figure it out. They would have just sent him back, and he probably would have ended up falling, and he probably would have ended up breaking his hip. And I don't know that he would have been able to return home after that and be living his best life like he is right now. So.
Wow, Casey, that's
Yeah.
such a touching story. Thank you for sharing that. As care managers, I do feel like we are fixers. And you have to be, very knowledgeable to know how to do that, especially in a hospital. Now that we have a better idea of what care management is, let's talk more about who the care manager is.
So a care manager is an aging life care professional. Our team is made up of nurses and other licensed healthcare professionals who specialize in senior care and chronic care management. Aging Life Care Professional is a term coined from the Aging Life Care Association. This was an association that was started by a group of visionary women back in the 1980s. They developed a standard of practice and code of ethics, and care managers across the nation follow this with their businesses and just the way that they, care for their clients and treat their clients. Kind of how I got into this role, I became a caregiver at a very young age. My father was in an accident when I was 21 years old, and became a paraplegic, which meant he pretty much needed care all the time, and a lot of care. So I began navigating the healthcare system at a very young age. And then it just kind of continued from there. So grandparents, uncles, and just kept navigating the healthcare system. So probably about 5 or 6 years after that happened with my dad, I was introduced to Care Around the Block and came to work here. So I was actually the youngest person that Mary hired when I came to work here, and because normally people don't have that kind of experience at that age, but it was just because of life experience and what life had thrown me that I actually had really walked that journey much younger in life than most people. And it really, for me, was just kind of a calling. I just knew what to do. I mean, I liked doing that. I think I liked crisis management the best. I loved solving the problem. Had a case one time where it was a mom and a dad, and their son lived in another state, and he visited a couple times a year, and he came one Christmas and hadn't been here for a while, and mom and dad were in really bad shape, and just couldn't drive anymore, and found the house and just complete disarray, and hadn't been to doctor's appointments, and just both of them had a lot of areas of concern. And he called and found us through the Aging Life Care Association, actually, and got online. We had one conversation. Within 24 hours, I had the paperwork back for both of them, and they ended up just being, we took care of both of them till they passed away, and they ended up teaching me a lot. They taught me a lot about life. They taught me a lot about business. They taught me a lot about love. And they were just, it's really rewarding. So we're not only helping them, but so much of what we do each day. They're giving back to us as well, especially if you'll just kind of stop and listen to what they have to say. But that's kind of how I got into senior care. My grandfather was sick when I was a kid. I used to watch the home health nurse when she would come to like change his dressings and things. My grandmother would let me sit in the corner and watch as long as I wouldn't say anything or mess with the nurse. And everybody else wanted to go outside and play. But I was so fascinated by what she was doing. So I think I knew at like 10 years old that nursing was what I wanted to do.
Thank you, Casey, for that story. Although we are very team-centered, it's important to know that the client and the family is also the client, will have one primary care manager. She will be the one that they will communicate with, their one key person. We do have a whole team. We have also caregivers if needed, but there will always be one main care manager over the case and in contact with everyone involved.
I believe that everyone can benefit from care management. I've seen, over the last 10 or 11 years, like just some really, really terrible things that have happened. I've also seen us prevent a lot of bad things from happening. I would say, out of all the different, buckets of clients that we have, so whether it is a client that has a child on the other side of the United States or in another country, or a client that has a local child but they have a professional career, or maybe they are here and they're local but they're still raising their own family, and it's hard to be a primary caregiver for someone and then also still be trying to get your kids through high school or get them through college and work. And there's only so much time during the day. The bucket that is probably near and dear to my heart the most are the solo agers. So we are seeing more and more individuals that they don't have family. They didn't have children. They have a spouse that's passed away. They didn't have a lot of family. And these individuals they don't have anyone to look out for them. They don't have anybody that's going to show up at the ER and be an advocate for them if they're not able to do that for themselves. We offer a peace of mind program. We offer a standby program for these clients so that they know that they have a relationship with us. We know their health history. We know their wants. We know their dislikes. We know how they want certain situations to be handled, and that we will be there for them in the event of an emergency. We are on call for them 24/7 for a crisis. So it is. That's probably the bucket of clients that are most near and dear to my heart, because I just can't imagine someone not having somebody there for them when they are in that kind of a situation.
So Casey, you shouldn't wait till there's a crisis to start services. Talk a little bit about how one would get services started, how they would get their ball rolling.
Yes. So I agree. We're not going to turn you down if you call us, when you're in a crisis. But, it's better for us and it's better for you if we are proactive with care. So much about care management is care prevention. Building a relationship with your care manager, it's almost like having a crystal ball sometimes. Like, we truly have done these things and seen so much that there are a lot of times we can prevent bad things from happening. We can prevent ER visits. We can prevent falls. We can prevent hospitalizations. But we can't do that without a relationship. Calling us and getting a free consultation, setting up a time to get your initial assessment, having our care manager come out, meet you, do the assessment, come up with your areas of concerns, and write out that care plan. And you may be doing great. You may not have a lot of needs right now, but you could go into our standby care program, and then you'll be ready. We'll be ready when you need us, and you'll be ready when you need us. So, I've seen lots of things change in the blink of an eye, and you never know. It is a hard thing to think about. It's a hard thing. People say that it's the golden years when you get older. I don't know who came up with that, because getting old is not for sissies. And it's tough. And it's hard to plan for those things that are going to happen, but it's inevitable. It's going to happen to all of us. And the best thing you can do, and the thing that will make it the easiest for you, is to plan and be prepared and have all your ducks in a row. So
Okay, thank you, Casey.
thank you for having me today.
You're welcome. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching our video. This is one of several videos to follow about care management. If you're interested in learning more about our services, our websites will be linked below. And again, thank you for watching.